Boo! Just like your boy Bálor did on last night's Raw.
WTF! WTF!
Bon qui, je m'appelle Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic.com and I'm your Cultaholic Heavyweight Champion, and welcome to all the WTF moments from last night's WWE Raw. A WWE Raw that was really bad, apart from one segment that might have made me pregnant. That's right everybody, never before has a Raw been so crap yet offered the world so much greatness. That knee from Charlotte Flair. Oh, not after midday, you sick freak. And yes, of course, I've just called a child a sick freak because they need to know the rules. Because if they don't know the rules, as the old song goes, learn your rules. You better learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep. Hung. And I don't want that child to be eaten in its sleep. And then, oh, my tits almost fell off my chest and died on the floor because even though it was way after midday on April Fool's Day, Lady Balls stood there and said we're going to add a fourth competitor to the main event triple threat at WrestleMania 35, and it's going to be me! Sounding like a bag of cats over a naked flame, so she was. And then, of course, when you remember that Lady Balls herself created women, then created women's wrestling, then created all of the women who ever wrestled inside of a wrestling ring, her standing there and saying that has to be the closest thing an April Fool gets to real life without actually being real life. I crap myself, man. I crap myself hard. But her breaking the rules, though, I don't care. I hope she does get eaten in her sleep. And so I guess after the announcement that it's going to be winner takes all in the main event at WrestleMania on Sunday, I need to bring this back. Surely for all that's holy, this means we're getting some kind of unification thing in the women's division. Because surely when Becky Lynch wins both titles on Sunday and goes, bloody hell, I don't want that blue one there, it doesn't go with me hair or me eyes, and people say I look like me da. That's just going to bury SmackDown even further, is it not? Time will tell here, time will tell. There's a sign there that claims that Brock Lesnar doesn't burn, and let me tell you that as a man standing here with pasty white skin, just like Brock Lesnar has, he is definitely packing factor 30 or maybe even factor 50 when Sable takes him down to the beach. I don't know, you sat there thinking, but Ross, Sable doesn't take Brock Lesnar down to the beach. Well, how do you explain that picture then, you smart arse? Now, I know it wasn't supposed to make anybody laugh, but when Paul Heyman stood there and said at WrestleMania on Sunday, Brock Lesnar will take everything Seth Rollins has in life, my mind went straight to Seth Rollins' coffee shop and Brock Lesnar standing outside the front door with the keys going, ha 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 Rollins, I've got your keys, you little child. With Seth stood there in front of them going, give us them back, man, Brock, give us them back, like he's a child at school who's had his Beyblade stolen by a kid in the air of both. And next up we have Sethy Poo claiming that nobody wants Brock Lesnar here in WWE. Sethy Poo doesn't want him here, the locker room doesn't want him here, the people doesn't want him here. Shut up! Well, Vince wants him here, Sethy Poo, that's one person at least, so get over it! Well, if you're looking for some low prices and the best deals on the drugs, head over to Washington DC because they've got some SmackDown prices on all of the drugs right now. But while we're here, somebody needs to tell that shifty-looking bastard our wholesome WWE superstars of today are lovely boys and girls and would never ever dream of doing the bad drugs. And next up we have a fella who is doing the whole, oh, praise the Lord, I shall worship thee towards Natalya. I mean, nothing against Natalya, but you just never see people doing that whole thing towards her, so this show's called WTF Moments, so here we are. Oh my god, Betty Phoenix, the Phoenix one, is turning on Natalya already by making her entrance into the wrestling ring on last night's Raw twice as hard as it should have been. It's a good job Natty's a cat, isn't it? Or she wouldn't have made it. Maggle. There he is on last night's Raw, claiming that Betty Phoenix, the Phoenix one, is the one and only woman ever to compete in both the men's and the women's Royal Rumble matches, when Nia Pissin Jax stood on the opposite side of the ring because 2 months ago, Nia did the same, and it was great. And despite the fact that was Nia's Royal Rumble moment because they're a thing, Michael Cole forgot about it because Michael Cole's not too bright.
What she say? Say, shut up, Renee. What she say? Say, shut up, Renee.
Now, of course, in the past, Renee Young has given us the delightful soundbite of the Samoan Slaughterhouse. But now she's calling Tamina on her own the Samoan Slaughterhouse, and that's just not right. Now forget about the obvious reasons of calling Tamina Snooker something to do with a slaughterhouse. but it's like calling Ant and Dec, when Ant's not even there. So this word wasn't bleeped last week, but on this week's show, while showing a replay of Triple H being a funny smark in the ring and using words that wrestling fans know but shouldn't know but know anyway, they bleeped the word douchebag, and I don't know what's real anymore. Now I looked up and down Urban Dictionary trying to find a definition of the word douchebag that would warrant it being bleeped on a WWE show, and I couldn't. And I know wrestling's for kids, and douchebag might be a slightly naughty word for a small child to say, but I didn't realise wrestling was on the same level as Pepper Piss and Pig. So Batista does his best Disco Inferno impression to fire up a promo package that he must have paid somebody to put together, because why else would a wrestler just randomly throw to a well put together promo package that they clearly haven't made themselves? But that promo package starts with Batista himself saying there's nothing Triple H hasn't done in this business ... except beat me. Well, there was that time on Raw where Triple H pedigreed and then pinned you 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, but I reckon even Triple H himself will want everybody in the WWE Universe to forget that ever happened, because look at the state of his head. Look at the state of those chops, man. Oh, I'm Triple H. I wear leather jackets like Motorhead. You look like a knob. I thought we were past this bollocks. We didn't see the demonstrations in the build-up to this year's Royal Rumble match, so I finally thought that WWE had realised that we are fully functioning human beings with massive brains that can do many things. But no! They were back on last night's Raw because we can't understand a match with one pissing rule in it, apparently. WWE's opinions of us fans could not be any lower if it tried. Finally, we have Maggle Cole hitting a nail right on top of the nail's head, while through that demonstration, just in case we didn't know how battle royals work, where a person has to be thrown over the top rope and both feet hit the floor, he said it was utterly pointless, and well done, Maggle. Well done for calling that bollocks out, but then... made a grave mistake. Corey chimes in with this mystical WrestleMania momentum that nobody can see but everybody believes in for some reason. Now I could stand here and go on a George Carlin-like rant about this WrestleMania momentum, a thing that nobody can see but everybody believes in, but I won't, because it's a bit controversial, you know, but just know that WrestleMania momentum loves you or something.
What she say? Say, shut up, Renee.
So big baldy bastard Baron Corbin comes out and tells us the heartbreaking truth that the Kurt Angle we see today in WWE just is nowhere near as good as the Kurt Angle we saw back in the day doing the graps. And then Renee pipes up and says big baldy bastard Baron Corbin's a scumbag, despite the fact she's married to a man who claimed that Roman Reigns got leukemia because of the bad things he did in the Shield back in the day. And there aren't any words for Renee Young, are there? Angle versus Mysterio announced last week for this week's Raw. Angle versus Mysterio didn't happen on this week's Raw. This just makes you wonder why WWE would book Kurt Angle with the hundreds and thousands of miles on his wrestling clock to have like 7 matches in 3 weeks. That's like going, Ross, go and run that marathon now, will you? It's just not going to happen. So next up we have Charlotte Flair claiming that Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch need to stay away from her because if they go near her, they won't make it to WrestleMania. So what I'm inferring from that comment, Charlotte Flair, is that you want to beat their asses despite the fact that you head into a match where if you do beat their asses, you'll forfeit your place in the main event of WrestleMania. I think you need to rethink what you just said there. Yes. They did it again, but they made it even worse somehow. So as we learned last week, Ricochet is now the Undertaker or something because when he takes off his hood, real life lightning goes off inside the arena, and I think it's my least favourite thing about professional wrestling today. And just to show you how stupid it is, I'll do it again. Whoa! It's happened again, 2 weeks in a row. I can't believe these things happen here on WTF Moments, but I'll demonstrate again. How stupid is this? Boom! And now they've gone and tampered with Aleister Black's entrance as well, and I don't know why this is more annoying than the fetish to steal a wrestler's name, despite the fact that wrestler clearly owns that name. For some reason, WWE have added creaking and mechanical sounds to that board that raises Aleister up during his entrance, despite the fact, to me at least, that was supposed to represent Aleister rising from the depths of a scented candle hell like some sort of demon or a vampire or something. They've peeled back the curtain here, people, and revealed how this dark magician does his tricks. Imagine going back in the day when The Undertaker would just appear in the ring and him going, oh, I just came from like under the ring there and the lights went out and I got in the ring. That's how I did that. Why have they ruined this entrance? So just ahead of a match where the first person to turn on their partners loses their spot in the main event of WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey now pipes up and says, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, if you get in my face, brothers, Never mind Judgment Day happening on Sunday, Judgment Day will happen on Raw. Now, first of all, Ronda, it's not Judgment Day on Sunday. We haven't seen one of those since 2009. And secondly, is it just me who understands what first person who turns on their partners loses their spot at WrestleMania actually means? Because Charlotte and Ronda, they clearly don't. But finally, Becky Lynch swoops in like the orange gazelle that she is and proves that those other two people in the main event of WrestleMania are just a massive pair of bleeding dopes, as she would say in that exact voice. And considering what Charlotte, Flair and Ronda Rousey said before Becky Lynch's promo just there, I've got to make Becky Lynch understanding the stipulation of that match on last night's Raw, a WTF moment. So here we are. Oh no. Phew! Thank God those three women coexisted during that match, so the WrestleMania main event is being cancelled. Thank God. I'm sure that twatting several police officers upside the head will not rule them out of it. I tell you what, it's a bloody great thing that resisting arrest and beating up police officers is not an arrestable offence. In WWE land, or WWE, they would be buggered on Sunday. Was this segment produced by Jimmy Uso to try and make himself feel better about what he did not too long ago? It must have been. It's the only way it makes sense. But we need to take a step back a second to the moment where Ronda and Charlotte and Becky started beating the bejesus out of each other because they said, and I quote Michael Cole, the security is down here trying to separate these three men. Now, Michael, I don't know what to say anymore when it comes to you, pal, but I know that Becky Lynch calls herself the man, but she doesn't have a whopping great cock now, does she? But now we get on the pièce de résistance of last night's Raw and forget about the other mess WWE have made of this rivalry since the Royal Rumble of 2019, because this segment, it was delightful. But whatever the hell this segment turned into with all the things that happened, and oh my God, Charlotte, that knee, it was straight out the very top drawer, WWE, and let me tell you why. Becky and Ronda running at each other like a couple of kids having a fight on the school field, Ronda and Becky in the car with each other with Ronnie kicking the window out, Becky shouting, "Kiss my foot, you little weirdo." Ronda commandeering a police car despite the fact she was handcuffed and then driving the pissing thing into another police car. This man here flopping around on the floor like a drunk fish, and then Jesus Christ, Charlotte Flair, the knee to end all knees. I can't stop watching that knee. Actually, it's just playing there on my phone off camera to keep myself happy. My God, that segment was amazing. It was exactly what the doctor ordered. It was frantic. It was raw. Damn it! And after not caring about that triple threat match for so long, thanks to the utter mess that WWE have put on in recent weeks, I now care again. So that segment worked. More of this, please. I mean, surely all three of those women with their kicking of the police officers, and especially Ronda Rousey, who commandeered a police vehicle and crashed it into another police vehicle while being handcuffed after beating up several police officers, they have to be arrested and locked up way past WrestleMania 35. This main event match, it shouldn't be on, but it was great. But it also makes you wonder why the hell this segment didn't close the go-home Raw for WrestleMania, because bloody hell, there's no better way to lead into a WrestleMania than whatever the hell happened there. I just didn't care about the other things that happened in the hour or so after that segment. Essentially, the ejaculatory refraction period, or whatever me and Pacitti talked about on Elimination Chamber reactions way back in the day, that's what happened in the aftermath of that segment. I blotted everywhere and I was tired. But hang on a second there, Michael Cole then pipes up to say in the 22 years he sat behind the commentary table in WWE, that was the damnedest thing he'd seen. Now there's pictures going behind my head here that are actually more damnedest things than what happened on Raw last night, but not to Michael Cole, because he's got the memory of a fish or something. What's he on about? What the hell happened here? Why the hell isn't Chad Gable a bona fide single star, which he looked like in that match against Kurt Angle a couple of weeks ago? Why isn't Bobby Roode a main event level heel like he was in NXT? Why is this tag team that nobody gives two hoots about back together? Answer on a postcard, please. Oh, another person involved in that bastard battle royal on Sunday. So, of course, we needed another demonstration because we don't understand how a match with one rule bloody works, do we, fans? And here's a direct quote from Michael Cole, which, given the John Oliver thing that happened this weekend, is great bloody timing. There's no sick in WWE, Renee. Nice one, Michael. Who knew that Braun, Michael and Colin were literal giants compared to the rest of the WWE roster in that bastard battle royal? I didn't. So there. So then, Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar, your boy Finn Bálor does not call on the unbeatable demon, but Intercontinental Championship match against Bobby Lashley, Finn Bálor does. Talk about them things that make you go, Dun 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 dun. Remember everybody, please tune into the new episode of Ms. and Mrs. You can't miss that episode because it's going to be a great episode. They're still not there. It's like they're the same man but with alternative attires in a WWE video game. You've got the big dog and the big dog. Because he's Scottish. So Nelson Muntz was at last night's Raw. We see big baldy bastard Baron Corbin get kicked right in the teeth by Ronald Mysterious, and we hear ha ha in the crowd. And I thought The Simpsons was a cartoon that wasn't even real. And we end with what might be my favourite slip of the tongue in WWE history when Michael Cole claimed that Ronald Mysterious, he has a gimp. When he should have said he has a limp. But imagine Ray with a gimp. Riding that gimp on its back like a horse. What? So that's it for all your WTF moments from last night's Raw. A really crap Raw, apart from a segment that has to be held in such high regard that we called it like Wrestling Nirvana or something. It was that bloody good. I've been your champion and your presenter today. Have a nice flight. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can play us to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us.